Welcome to Behind the Curtain. I am Chris Verdugo, the Executive Director of the San Francisco Gay Men's Chorus, and alongside me here today is, of course, our Artistic Director, Dr. Tim Seelig. And with us, we have someone who has way too many titles for me to remember, is an incredible activist, singer, and truly a leader in the San Francisco community. The one, the only, the fabulous, the always in red, Donna Sachet.
Thank you. I thought you might say that, so I wore red for you.
We all wore red. I mean, this is the most red I have.
Me
But
too.
we talked
I'd
about
have the
it.
color copyrighted, but they wouldn't do it. So.
Right?
I'm honored to be here. You've had so many special guests. I've seen several of them, but you know, when Broadway starts, like Christine Chenoweth was on recently. You've had composers, and I mean, when you said, and of course you, and I thought, of course, okay, if you think so.
Oh, please. One of my favorite titles for you is the First Lady of the Castro.
Thank you.
Dubbed the First Lady of the Castro, not by yourself, but by very
No.
important people.
Yeah,
And
Mark Leno, really, and I think that's important. So many people will come up with their own title, and I'm not going to name any drag queens, but I mean, it's a great label, and it goes on your cards, and suddenly everybody's using it. But you invented it. I mean, is that right? I'd rather be.
right.
So.
No, okay. You just stepped right into it by saying you invented it, because where did you invent? How did you invent this persona that is now everywhere? You're not just the first lady of the Castro. You're the first lady of San Francisco, and people, you are ever present at every possible event, ribbon cutting. We often say that we sing at the opening of a gay envelope. You probably
And
feel
I'll set the ribbon for the opening of the garage door. So.
The envelope doesn't even have to be gay.
yeah.
Well, I tell you, when I'm interviewed about drag, especially because there's such a wide range of drag now, I'm a very specific kind of drag queen. I do love my community involvement and my being able to represent the community, maybe, and crossover events. I love to go to things that I'm not expected to be at and hold myself up and represent my community and bring them, the whole community with me, I think. But I don't put on drag, I let it out. And I think when I was on that first retreat in the Gay Men's Chorus, I just joined the chorus in probably 91. I've always tried to figure the year out. I was going to the retreat, and I heard, they're going to have a talent or no talent show on Saturday night. And people started talking about what they were going to do. It was all very funny. Like one guy did bacon in a pan. I mean, it was just crazy. So I thought, well, this may be the chance. Because I'd always done a little by myself. You know, everybody's put a towel on their head and sung to Diana Ross and Ain't No Mountain High Enough with a brush for a microphone. But I thought, this is the time. And I did the talent show. I was a nervous wreck. I had no heels. I wore ballet slippers. I had no dress. I wore a black, like Asian robe with a dragon on the back. And I mean, the hair was just, I mean, there are original pictures. I would never show you where they are.
No.
But it was just, it was a chance to do something. And I lip synced to Donna Summer's song. Imagine that. I don't know. As soon as I got out there, all the fear left. And because it was so empowering, I finally let this person out that had been in me for so long, and I'd had to squelch for many, many reasons, many, many years. When I left the stage, I heard somebody, you know, just yell. Everybody was yelling. The room went crazy. That's my memory, at least. And my name at the time was, you know, Donna. Donna, instead of Donna, it was Donna Summer. So I was Donna Winter. So, you know, black and white. And as I left the stage, somebody said, "Look at her sachet." I said, "Oh, even better. I'm Donna Sachet." And that was my name from that point on. So the chorus really gave birth to me.
It did, and that is legendary, of course. I mean, we've had many legendary performances at the No Talent show, but I don't think any of them have actually, well, none of them have birthed anyone like a Donna Sachet. And the then conductor, Dr. Stan Hill, he is attributed to that "Look at her sachet." Now, I don't think he probably did it. He's just taking credit for
Yeah,
it.
these stories grow with time.
Absolutely. Yeah, he
But
probably.
I love him for giving me that opportunity. And then once I came out as a drag queen, you know, I very quickly, I think I joined the course in 91. 92, I became Miss Gay San Francisco. And then 2 years later became the 30th Empress of the city. So it was a quick kind of thing. I could hit traction. And then I started having to be late for rehearsals, and I wasn't learning all my lyrics. And so he started giving me special roles that didn't involve as much choral membership. And I did solo roles, or I did walk-ons, or I, you know, do some kind of symbolic thing. He kept finding a role for me. It was just very special.
And we've still been having you for special roles, but from the Home for the Holidays at the Castro Theater to this very last spring, where our concert was called Queens, and you did the most fabulous "I Am What I Am" and interviewed or introduced queens and more queens. It was amazing.
And let me tell
Just
you what I especially loved about that. Not just that you gave me the opportunity to sing a song that just means so much to me and my community, but you didn't want me to just sing a song. You said, I'd like you to write something, your thoughts about drag in today's world or in your life or whatever. I said, well, how many minutes? Whatever you want. It's like, don't tell me whatever you want. So I got it down to 3 minutes, I think. But I mean, it was so empowering because I was able to try to encompass Jose Sarria really started the imperial court system. So I'm kind of modeled after that, a live singer, an entertainer, but also a political person. And yet in a modern way, I mean, he never had a drag name. He was just Jose. I'm Donna. And parallels, but differences. And I tried to bring it all the way up. And we've had drag since recorded history, you know, and been for different reasons. And today we have a panoply of drag. Look at all the kinds of drag there is. And I'm just happy to be a slice of that the community seems to like.
well, oh, the community loves it. I want to ask, and now we're going to get into all of your activism because it really is what you do. And but I want to know from that first retreat when you wore a little robe and had tragic hair, like almost close to a mop head. How long did it take you to become beautiful?
Oh, are you saying I'm beautiful? Thank you very much. That's a very nice compliment. You know, I don't think we're also self-critical. When you've heard your voice recorded for the first time, didn't you say, I sound like that? When I see pictures, I'm like, oh, I thought it was pretty that night. You know, we're always self-critical, but I've decided on a certain look, and when I try to be something else, it doesn't work. You know, we call it different kinds of drag, like club drag and bucket drag. There's all kinds of drag. And when I do what I consider a glamorous kind of Hollywood look, but still I want to look like a female. I don't want to look like a clown. I don't want to do gender dysphoria. So you find your look and you go for it. And if you consider pretty, I appreciate that. I kind of
Please. When did you choose red?
Oh, that's a great story. I rarely tell that one. When you run for Empress, they have all these different rules, of course, because it's the oldest continuously operating LGBT organization in the country. You may not know that, but we celebrated 50 years several years ago. You were there, Tim. Mm-hmm. When you run for Empress, there are these different things, and you fill out this form, and they say, okay, what's your slogan? Who's your campaign manager? What's your bird? What's your color? I mean, what is all? I felt like a state, but I didn't really think about it until at the actual interview, and I hadn't filled out a couple of those things. They said, we see you haven't filled out the color. What will your color be? And I thought so quickly, I thought, I've got to think quickly. I looked at my wardrobe in my head. I was very new to it. I had 2 black dresses, 2 blue, and 3 red. So I chose red. It was as easy as that. And now I love it with blonde, and it became a signature.
Right. Oh my gosh. I think that I thought there was some really deep significance to your choice. I love the fact that it was, I had 3 red dresses. So let's just go with.
I only had 7 dresses at the time, and I was about to become Empress.
But the amazing thing is, I've been with you and seen you in so many civic events. Certainly at the gay events, everybody's multicolor in every possible way. At the civic events, I've seen you when everybody in the room had on a dark blue suit, and there's Donna.
There you go.
It's amazing.
You know what Bill Blass said about wearing red. I was in the fashion business, you know, for years. I moved here from New York, and I was with Saks Fifth Avenue, and got to know him a little bit. And one time he said to me, he said, Donna, what's with the red, red, red? I was like, oh, well, Mr. Blass, call me Bill. Oh, Bill. Because I don't know, I just like it, and it's good with blonde. He said, no, let me tell you why you wear red. When a woman walks into a room with a red dress on, she has no intention of being ignored. And if anything irritates me, it's being ignored. I want to bring something to the room. If somebody invites me to a party, I want to bring something to that party. If I'm invited to attend a function that's with a purpose, I better have something to say. The microphone's going to come my way. So it's part of my mission.
Well, you know, the fact that you're a drag queen and you wear red gorgeously and you wear Barbara Bush pearls, that's because you're from the South, no doubt.
Thanks.
So actually, let's continue that thread that Tim just mentioned. You're from the South,
People don't know that I am.
Yeah, before we before we started recording, you were sharing some of your personal stories from the South, and
Yeah, I was raised in the South, and there's a lot of different kinds of Souths. And listening to your story often, Tim, I compare, but it's a different South. But still, I was similar to you. Like I couldn't wait to get out of that South. I mean, at some point you just feel smothered by it. I was in Georgia for most of that time. I had a very, it was a small town, and I don't know, I never remember any stories about Jewish people. I don't think there was a Jew in sight, so that was very foreign. There, I don't know, everything was very isolated, and when I saw my first water fountain at the somewhere downtown, which was not much of a downtown, but there were two fountains. One was kind of high and clean. It was for whites. And I thought, well, what? Because it's white porcelain. I don't know what does that mean. And then lower and filthy was this little fountain that said coloreds, coloreds with an S at the end. I didn't have any idea because I just was so unaware of it. And I asked my mother, who I was with at the time. She grabbed my hand and said, "We just don't ask those kind of questions." And we kept walking. And of course, I pestered her, never got a right answer. So my experience with the South was painful in that way. It was just I didn't get it, and it may sound naive and whatever, but I had friends of all kinds, and we had things in common, like we were in French class, or we sang, or we enjoyed the theater. So that was what brought us together, not the color of our skin that didn't keep us apart or bring us together. It was just people.
so how do you connect that to how political you've been over the past several decades? We met when I worked for Equality California, and you were one of the board members, and I've always known you'd be so outspoken um, about politics and about inequality and injustice.
Well, I think that's kind of an area, as I said before, I like going places where I'm not necessarily expected. I don't think, as a rule, drag queens are expected to have much to say. They're expected to come in and bring their powder and am I perfect? Oh, are you saying something? Well, when you're through, let me know. I mean, we have a bad reputation that way, and that's fine if that's what somebody wants to be. I have something to say, and this gave me the tool to say it. So when I joined I've been on several boards, and when that was the first statewide board, Equality California, and we were on a mission. We were going to get marriage legalized. Well, at first it was difficult for me because I wasn't really about marriage. I mean, I figured half the marriages end in divorce anyway. Why are we imitating a failed institution? All that kind of stuff. Mark Leno, at the time supervisor, maybe he was assemblyman by then. He pulled me aside and said, "Donna, you grew up in the South, didn't you?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, think about it this way. You talked about those water fountains. If some group can get married and some group can't, they're still citizens. What is the difference?" And it just dawned. I mean, it made so much sense. So I joined that movement very actively, and I'm just delighted. I was there for all the celebrations and weddings at City Hall, and more power to the people that want to do that and commit to it and have a wonderful life together. I mean, especially in this COVID, can you imagine being all by yourself in your apartment? At least some people have partners that they probably get tired of each other, but they have company.
Tell us about what you're doing now. So, Equality California, marriage, those things. What at top of your list as an activist right this minute?
Well, before COVID, I think is really what you're talking about, what I was really, my heart was in. And I joined the board of the Rainbow Honor Walk, which is where the bronze plaques that are in the sidewalks in the Castro. And I was attracted to it for a number of reasons. One of them, that nobody else has done it in the world. We have star walks here and there and everything. We don't want to be star walks, it's honor walk. And we wanted to, there was a great beginning kind of parameters that had to be someone that was deceased, so we didn't get into competition with current people and all kinds of things. I was attracted to it, and some of the people on the board I knew. And I joined it, and a couple of years later, I became the president recently of that board. And I just, I want that project to continue. I want us to expand the footprint of the Castro. We're going up Market Street with more and more plaques. And, every day we're losing important people. I mean, Terrence McNally, they're just people slipping away so quickly. We need to make sure they're remembered and their story is told, even if it's just on the plaque in the sidewalk.
It's amazing. And I hope that everybody listening, if you live here or don't live here, that when you make a trip to San Francisco, that two things are on your list, and that is the tour of the Castro with the plaques. And for me, the National AIDS Memorial Grove. We were able to build our own artists portal and the home for the San Francisco Gay Men's Chorus in honor of the almost 300 singers that we've lost. And it is a destination that people use even during COVID and in times of grief and in times of honoring those who've passed, or just to go and be quiet. And we are very, very proud of that.
I was there when you opened it, and I thought the great tie-in, especially because it's the chorus, it's a audible kind of thing, that there's a bell that you ring, or you can ring, and it adds that extra sensory level to it. It was a beautiful touch.
Oh, thank you so much.
Maybe we get along so well, Tim, because we have parallels in many ways. I wasn't a Baptist, and I wasn't really in the church so much, but I had such a strict life, and everything was prescribed, and everything was careful. And I think about my name, Donna Sachet. One of the things I was teased for the most as a kid was the way I walked. And I would try to correct it. I would go home and hold my hips still so I wouldn't walk that way, and try and walk like John Wayne. I mean, it was just terrible. And then I'd get that, the first thing they'd see was that, look at that sissy strut, look at her sachet. What?
Yeah.
This hurts so much. And to think now in my adult life, my name is Donna Sachet.
Right. People, the youngsters don't understand this so much, but we were told to walk a certain way, talk a certain way, hold your school books, not like this, but by your side. Don't cross your legs with one leg over. Make sure your leg is like.
If you look at your nails, not like this. A guy like this.
Absolutely. Yeah, the strictures were many. And boy, when we came flinging out, we came flinging out, and you came out as this beautiful, beautiful person. I
hope I open doors for people. You know, sometimes I mean, everybody that is in a leadership position gets criticism, and I take it too seriously. I'll stew over a negative comment on Facebook for weeks, and people say, well, just let it go. But I think, you know, what can I do to win that person over? What did I do wrong? But most people realize that when I go to the opening night of the opera, for instance, with a gentleman on my arm, and we look fabulous, and we're bringing our whole community with us. The last few years when I get to there, we go right to the front of the Opera House, we go up the stairs, Nancy Pelosi greets me, Charlotte Schultz greets me, you know, I mean, people, Dee Dee Wilsey, I mean, how did that ever happen? It wasn't so easy the first year, but we broke doors down, and that's what this community's been doing for years. I always say that I walk on the shoulders of those before me, and I just hope my heels don't hurt their shoulders, because there's a lot to go on.
Thank you so much for that. Well, you know, I've been at functions where you have not attended, and your absence is obviously marked by everyone. So, you know, just keep showing up, because we need.
Every time that happens, so I'll be able to send him a note or something later.
Right.
Are you like me? I send handwritten thank you notes too. That's one of the things that survived from my Southern upbringing, and maybe that was a stricture, but I just embraced it. People get so tickled with the handwritten thank you note. I mean, it's just a little old-fashioned thing. And people do something special things. You think this jewelry I bought? No, it's a gift. I mean, I have fur coat gifts. You know, somebody's mother passed away. Would you ever use this coat? Of course. I mean, people are so generous. Tickets to things. I mean, I can't remember the last time I bought a drink. I mean, people are just, they want to be a part of this wonderful trip, and that's what I want. I want to take them on a great trip, and they're all welcome.
Donna, thank you for being with us today. It's such an important time in our lives and in our world, and we can't imagine doing this and spending Pride Weekend without you at the very front of it. You've been a leader. You've been the lady in red. You've been that one person truly in this city that people can depend on. They know you're going to be there. They know you're going to light the Christmas tree. They know you're going to have a holiday show. It's we depend on Donna Sachet. We know you're going to do Sunday brunches. It's just you have become, out of love and respect, the first lady of not just the Castro, but of our hearts. And I want to thank you for that.
Thank you so much. And much of what you just said, I think about the chorus in the same way. I mean, there's not an event. It's not an event in an official way if the chorus isn't there singing in some way. I don't know how you do some of those engagements, but it maybe some of that what rubbed off on me too. I think our gay community should never be isolated. We are part of the entire city, and I will continue. Once this is lifted, you'll see me at the darndest places cutting ribbons and popping bottles of champagne, because we need to celebrate. We need to be unified and find what brings us together. We're a diverse community, but we have something in common. We want to be citizens, fully recognized and honored for that. One time Nancy Pelosi said, we don't tolerate in San Francisco, we celebrate. And that's what
Amen.
Amen to that. And you know, what you've just said, today being Thursday, 3 days after a landmark Supreme Court ruling.
Nobody saw that coming, did they? Wow.
No, none of us saw that coming. We were also, I think with everything else going on in the world, we were just sort of inside, kind of going, oh my goodness, this is going to be another blow to us. And then that 6-3 ruling, which was made, I have goosebumps. And really, another step toward that Equality Act that we're looking to pass, right?
I love that quote about the arc of justice is not a straight line. It sometimes goes and goes back. Think about the marriage thing. We thought we had it. We didn't. We did. We did. Now we think we do. It could be reversed in some way. It's a constant struggle. And this was an unexpected bump in the right direction. I'm very excited.
It was a gift. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for honoring me by having me with all those guests you had. I loved all of them. Keep doing this. I love that you're going to create a studio, and I'm going to be doing shows there. It'll be great.
Thank you. Sure will.
Thank you. Love you.